I have 4 kids coming to 5. My wife is pregnant with our 5th. I spend as much time possible with my children and my wife, but at the same time, I need to do what I need to do at work, but I complete my work at the office. Right? When I first joined CIMB, everybody got a shock. And in the first 2 days, or well, every single day when I was in corporate finance, I went back at 5:30 sharp. Nobody does that in CIMB. Right? I went back at 5:30 sharp, and then I was asked, why are you going back? I finished my work. It was a culture shock to a lot of CIMB people at that time. Right? And I created a trend that others started to follow and going back on time because they finished their work. Right? But it is always important that you do your work in the office. Of course, if it's not completed, if you have to stay back and things like that, you stay back, you finish it. But you do not stay back every single day of your life in the office. You don't do that. It's not about people say, oh, now that you're CEO, you can go back on time, blah blah. You can go back early. Your staff have to suffer in the office until 10 o'clock at night and things like that. It's not about that. It's about you doing your work effectively and efficiently, irrespective of your position. Your supervisor will not have any problem. I should be finishing soon. If you finish your work. Right? So always remember that. Balance the 5. Of course, sometimes people even say you can drop your work and it bounce back because it's a rubber ball. But mind you, sometimes that ball will not bounce back in the same job. You can only bounce back outside of your current job because you're sacked for putting too much importance on the other 4. So there must always be a balance in your work, and that to me is what has kept me sane all these years, and what has kept me energized. The passion for Islamic finance, the value that we must do it properly with integrity, and the value that we must balance our job with our family, friends, health and spirit. You keep this, irrespective of whether your passion is Islamic finance, conventional finance, or arts, or aviation, or whatever the industry that you're passionate about, you must balance it. When it comes to Islamic finance, the debate between Sharia compliant and Sharia based in Malaysia is irrelevant because everything in Malaysia is Sharia based. Because the Islamic Banking Act 1983 provides that no Islamic banks or no person can do Islamic finance or Islamic banking activities that contradicts the religion of Islam. Right? All your financial transactions must be in line with Sharia. Right? And if you do it in any other way, you will lose your license. Right? There is that debate outside of Malaysia because there is no regulation. There is no Islamic Banking Act that define what Islamic banking activities is. Alright? So that debate is relevant outside of Malaysia, but not inside. But going even deeper into that, if you look at history, the history of banking started in Egypt and the Mesopotamian during the Babylonian Empire during the Mesopotamian era, about 3,000 years before the advent of Islam. right? Or 2,000 years, 2,000 years before the advent of Islam. And banking is about the intermediation between the have and the have-nots. Okay? People with money, we intermediate and give it to people who needs money, and people who needs in Islamic finance, when Islam came 1,400 years ago, banking was adopted lock, stock and barrel, with minor modification, where it is now known as intermediation between the have and the have-nots in a Sharia compliant manner. Alright. The difference between banking, conventional banking and Islamic finance is in the contracts. It is not in the activities. Right. Every financial activities is needed in the Islamic financial market. Right. Whether it's to invest, whether it's to deposit, whether it's to get financing to buy a house, get financing to buy a computer, go on holiday or whatever, is needed. That intermediation requirement is needed. But how do you go about doing it in a Sharia compliant manner? In Islam, what is prohibited is riba. That's the main thing that is prohibited. As a Muslim, your act of not doing riba is required and rewarded. Abstaining from doing riba is what you are required to do as a Muslim. You are not required to do Islamic banking. You can live your life on a cash economy. You don't have to keep your money with a bank. You don't have to borrow money from a bank. You just live your life on cash. You make your salary, you spend within your means, full stop. You don't have to buy a house if you don't have money. You can do that. You have a choice. You can go and become a hermit and stay in the jungle. As a Muslim, you have that choice, because you don't want to be doing riba, which is the act of charging money on money. Alright? So there is no provision anywhere in Sharia that requires you to do Islamic banking or finance. Alright? But Islamic banking and finance is developed as an alternative to conventional finance. Alright? And Islamic banking and finance provide for the intermediation of the have and the have-nots in a manner that complies with Sharia. And how does it comply with Sharia? The contracts. It's the same thing as you eat your chicken curry, kan? Okay? A slaughtered chicken and an unslaughtered chicken in a Sharia compliant manner. If you cook curry with this chicken, it will taste the same. It will look the same. It will smell the same. But one is halal, the other one is haram. So the same thing with Islamic finance and conventional finance. Okay? Every Islamic financial product is Sharia based or Sharia compliant. It's just one and the same. Okay? In Malaysia. But outside of Malaysia, there is that debate because there is no regulation. Okay? So when you talk about Islamic bonds, for example, bonds, conventional bond is defined as indebtedness arising from borrowed monies. But Islamic bonds is defined as indebtedness arising from trade activities. So the contract that you enter to facilitate the issuance of the bond or the sukuk is different. But it smells the same, looks the same, economic benefit is the same, your right as an investor is the same, your obligation as an issuer is the same. But one is halal, the other one is haram.